I'm still here, Hollywood. And coming up on today's episode, there was a time in late-night television when anything felt possible. A little wild, a little irreverent, and completely unforgettable. And at the center of it was a host who brought humor, charm, and just the right amount of mischief to a generation of viewers who probably stayed up way later than they should have. But what makes her story even more compelling is what came next. A complete reinvention that turned her into a powerhouse entrepreneur. This is Still Here Hollywood. I'm Steve Kmetko. Join me with today's guest from USA Up All Night, host and entrepreneur, Rhonda Shear. Hello, Rhonda.
Hi, Steve.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you look great. I'm a fan.
We've started perfectly. You look great, too.
Thank you. I'm hanging in there for this age, these many decades. I'm very immature.
That's okay. Young at heart.
Young at heart, and I never pushed a baby out of there. So I'm convinced that's why I've stayed young mentally.
Really?
Yeah. And maybe physically too. But no, I think taking care of children can definitely age you in every way.
I thought it was supposed to keep you younger.
I don't know. I never had them, but I don't think so because all these women, they cut their hair, they stop doing the fun things, they become mommies, they show pictures of their kids. So, I mean, I like kids, but from a distance.
Yes. Arm's length.
Arm's length, at least.
When you think back to Up All Night, what's the first image that comes to mind?
I had fun on Up All Night. I have to say it that way, or people get upset, because it was 8 years of 7 different directors. So everybody brought their own feeling to it. So it was a lot of experimental television, and it was early basic cable. So we got to really have fun with it. And that's what's happening again today with streaming. It's kind of that same feeling of almost experimental and not having to go to the bosses. Although we had to go to the bosses back then, but we still made fun of them on camera because they never watched the show. It was great. We were the cash cow of USA Network, though.
Were you?
Oh, my goodness. Yes. So this little movie show, which wrapped around movies, Gilbert Gottfried on Saturday, God bless him, I loved Gilbert, and myself on Friday nights. They would actually have us go out. I would go out and meet their advertisers like Budweiser Beer and Mars Bars and all these people. The ad people would take us out. So we were really ahead of our time because we were doing ads within the show. So within the sketches that we were doing, because we would just do this interstitial, these sketches that wrapped around the movies. So we were really experimental and doing things that they do now on social media. So it's just a really great time as a performer. But also what it makes me think of, you asked me, is that I took a chance because I was doing stand-up comedy and everybody kept telling me, you're too pretty, you're too sexy to do stand-up. You have to look a certain way. Because back then, they didn't know what to do with me. I mean, it's different now, but back then wearing short skirts and big hair or whatever, you had to look funny to be funny. And so it brings back those memories of when I auditioned for the show. I was so tired of being told that I had to look a certain way to be funny that I walked into the audition with a low-cut dress and I plugged in my curling iron and started curling my hair because I figured, I'm going to lose things anyway, so I might as well just be big and crazy because I wanted someone who had sex appeal for the show, whatever that meant. So I brought it and then I got it. It was fun, very fun, great years, and I don't mind if it defines me at all. I love it. Like a lot of people, I don't want to be known for that. I'm like, yes, I want to be known for that.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Embrace it. Yeah.
Embrace it.
Jinx. What was your first reaction when you got the hosting job?
Oh, I loved it because I figured that I would be able. I didn't know the show was going to be as big as it became. I mean, I'm convinced that we paid for Weird Science and La Femme Nikita and all the shows that they were producing back there because we were making so much money with this little movie show. So we were like one of their first original shows. It was just it wasn't really a surprise. It was really fun, and it really, it grew everything for me as a stand-up comic. Then, I was starting to headline finally, and so my fees were up. It was just a great time in television. Creative.
And was it done in St. Petersburg?
It was done in L.A.
In L.A.
So in L.A. So USA Network had an office there. So for 4 years we were supposed to be on the scene in L.A. And then USA Network shut down their offices and just kept them open in New York City. So they moved the show to New York. I didn't move, but I would go in and bank a bunch of shows. And so it was just, you could see every year it changing a little bit because whatever director I was working with. Great directors, people that went on and still working for Bill Maher. And there was a lot of talented people that I got to work with. And interviews, oh my gosh. So not only did I do the funny sketches from my bedroom and, in the studio, but then we were on location. So I got to interview so many people. So, yeah.
Do you think of yourself as a trailblazer?
Now I do. I think of myself, I wrote a book, and in the title, it was Accidental Feminist. In the main title.
I was going to ask you about that. That was like 2017, I think?
Yes. And the reason why is I was doing things. Okay, so I was before the Me Too era, so I had to navigate through that. And back in the days, in the 80s and 90s in LA, people would tell you, if you don't sleep with me, you're going to get blackballed.
Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. But I also never met anybody in their hotel room for a job. So I was cautious. My parents were cautious. I was a good girl. If I would have slept around, I would have been a huge star, but I didn't, unfortunately. I didn't know anyone here. I did it the old-fashioned way. I actually went on auditions and did crazy things. But yeah, I used comedy as actually to deflect a lot of those people coming on to me. It actually used it as a defense mechanism because nobody wants to hear comedy when they're trying to get handsy with you. But it was a different time out there, and there was a couple of situations I had to kind of run from, but nothing where I got myself that was really totally scary.
So you've seen changes in the business.
I've seen changes, but also I think that people that wanted to sleep with people did go meet people in their hotel rooms knowing that was going to happen. So I think it went too far because I feel like you can't be fun or you can't be flirty or you can't be anything anymore. But I'm changing that because with the reboot of Up All Night, I'm bringing that back. And all my young ladies, what's so fun for me is bringing this show back is so many of these young actresses, they want to express themselves and they want to be sensual, but everyone is so afraid to go that way. And there's nothing wrong with it, especially because I love putting women up on a pedestal. In the 2 decades that I've been away from this industry mainly and designing and manufacturing women's intimate apparel, what's been great about that is learning about women and working with women and helping women. So that's the same thing that I want to do with the show. Be funny, but that doesn't mean you can't look like a woman and be feminine and sensual and still be funny and smart. So that's kind of what that I want to do. I'm already doing that, working with so many young actresses, because I'm not going to be the one showing cleavage. I mean, maybe a little, but not like I did. I'm not trying to be the age I was when I did the show. I am enjoying bringing new actors on. Some of my friends that were here that were doing all the B films back then and the horror films, it's fun to bring them back because they have such huge fan bases. Like, it's unbelievable what the horror genre and that genre does when you go to these conventions. The lines to meet these people are amazing.
What do people say to you most frequently when you meet them?
You're usually surprised that I'm so nice and approachable. And I'm like, why? Just because I worked in the entertainment industry? That was an honor for me to do that. It was a privilege to do what I love to do. I mean, why would I change? Why would I be any different? So I think people are surprised by that. And I was like, well, you're so sweet. I'm like, I'm just me. I have never changed. I'm one of those people. I'm a glass half full kind of person as opposed to the other.
Right.
Yeah.
I tend to be glass half empty. At least half empty.
I get in those moods, but for the most part, I feel like if I put it out there, it will happen. And I feel like I put this out there, even though all these years I've been loving with my husband, the intimate apparel business. Once you're in show business and you really love it, your heart's always there. You've got to find a way back to it, or it's just in your heart. So it's been great for me to do this again, reboot the show, start my own channel, and I've been acting again. I'm 70 years old and I'm acting. Like, thank goodness for all the, God bless her, Catherine O'Hara, amazing, Jean Smart, Michelle Pfeiffer, all these women who are way in their 60s and then their 70s are killing it because we have more to offer. We've been through a lifetime of pain, happiness, sorrow, death, birth. So we have more to offer. So I'm happy to see Hollywood or whoever's embracing age a little bit more.
What is the name of your business?
It's it's under Shear Enterprises is the umbrella, and it's Rhonda Shear Intimates. I've been on Home Shopping Network for 25 years now, along with selling.
Since the beginning?
Yeah.
Just about.
Absolutely. Well, not it's 40-something years old, but definitely been on. That's a long time to be on selling a product. I've seen a lot of intimate apparel people come and go. And I started the business with my husband because we were newlyweds. We're junior high school sweethearts reunited. And I was 40. And when I was 40 in Hollywood back then, I lived here 26 years. If you were 40, you're like done. You were like done.
Over.
That's what they told you. Anyway, it's different now. Look at J-Lo. Hello, the sexiest senior you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But it was different back then. So then I'm like, oh, wow, I'm 40 and I'm not married. And my mother's pushing me from New Orleans. And then lo and behold, he shows up, my husband, Van Fagan, through classmates.com. And I just wanted to flirt with him because he broke my heart as a kid. And then we'd get together.
Revenge?
Absolutely. Hell hath no fury as a woman scorn. And I just wanted to show on my breast. And I don't know. Woo. Seriously, I was looking good. I was like at that age, 40, feeling really good about myself. And I just wanted to show him and then leave. And then 15 days later, when we got together, we eloped. And we've been together 25 years. And we started this business. Everybody goes, what was your business plan? And we're like, it was a necessity to survive. It was called survival. I was off the air. He was divorced a couple of years, and he was a businessman in Lafayette, Louisiana, but things that were changing with his business too. So we decided just to start together and work together. And this opportunity for intimate apparel came up on HSN, and never thinking it would work. And then we literally just, I don't know, I guess it was my stand-up comedy background, really believing in my own product, having a bit of levity to talk about women's, private parts. And I think I was relatable to my customer, and I love my products. And 25 years later, I design everything, and I love it because it does help women.
What is the name of the bra that you've designed?
The Ahh Bra.
The Ahh Bra.
The Ahh Bra. And that just much like Up All Night, which was kind of like, I always liked catchphrases. I was on air one day and I was like, this bra is like a big sigh of relief, like, ah. And I made a note to myself while I was selling it, that's the name of this bra. And then Van, my husband, said, we should do an infomercial on it. And I'm like, an infomercial on a bra, like, doesn't an infomercial have to be like universal, like men use it too? And he goes, yeah, but the numbers were insane. And we did it, and we became like the biggest selling infomercial of all times. And then we won Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year. And that blew me away because everybody thought of my character back in the day as a bimbo. And I'm like, wow, this is wild. And then Jay Leno hosted the Nationals. And I knew Jay from the stand-up comedy days. And he was hosting the Nationals in Orlando where we were. I didn't get a chance to say anything but hello to him. And he called me, and I was standing in a grocery store, and he goes, I just wanted to congratulate you for pivoting and becoming a businesswoman instead of still knocking on doors like so many people do as they're older. But I'm like,
well, if you don't know anything else,
I wouldn't have left here, but we left because Home Shopping Network was located in St. Petersburg, and we thought if we were there, the opportunity would open doors for us to be on air more, because it was 24 hours a day, live television. It's all live, like
right.
It's not taped. So it did open doors because other people's products would drop out, and they'd fill in with bras and panties and shapewear. So it did explode our business, along with my husband being the businessman and me being the designer of the face and the crazy of it, I guess.
When was the last time you were in a comedy club?
Probably about a year ago.
Really?
But I was thrown on stage about 3 months ago. I have there's a lot of stand-up comics that live on the East Coast, and so it's become very big in Florida, Tampa, St. Pete. We're opening 3 new comedy clubs in St. Pete alone. I mean, big clubs. And so a friend of mine said, I just want you to come out to this. It's a little club and just tell stories, not stand-up, because you have to keep writing. I mean, it's written. The stand-up's not like everybody thinks you can just get up and be funny, but it's written. And he goes, just tell stories, tell HSN stories, tell funny stories. And I have a ton of them. And I get there and there's all these comics doing real material because he said it was just a storytelling night. So then I'm like reaching in my brain for older material. And then I got up. And then once I got up, there's like just 10 minutes, like 45 minutes later, my husband's going, and it's in your heart. It does come back to you, but then, you've got to stay current. And I do love it. So I would host shows now, but just to actually be on the circuit, you really do have to write and be hungry for that. And I love it. I'll always love it, but I think I can just be funny without doing that.
What do you remember about, what kind of stories do you think of when you think of the early days of HSN?
Oh my gosh. Well, live TV, as you know, anything can happen, and it does. And there's products falling, and then back then there was a lot more phone calls. And some of the phone calls I got, being in the intimate apparel business, were insane. And usually there's a 10-second delay, whatever it is. But the producer that's taking these calls is usually male and doesn't know what a woman's, doesn't understand what they're saying. But one of my funniest calls was a woman. She called in, she's making over this set, and she's going on. And she's like, I love your pinup, we call it, bra and panty set. And I got all the other nuns. I'm thinking of what's under their habits, like what is going on in the convent to wear them, and legit phone call. And then, oh my gosh, another woman called in and she's like, oh my gosh, my mother loved your Ahh Bra so much so that she asked to be buried in it. So we all wore an Ahh Bra to her funeral and we put her in it. And I'm on with one of the longtime hosts, Bobby Carter. She just retired after 47 years. And, it's like you don't know what to say. It's like, I'm sorry, but thank you. It's just funny moments, really funny, and even some that are naughtier. And then sometimes guys are calling in. And then I would get these ladies, I would hear the clinking of the cocktail, because HSN 24 hours a day back then was a woman's friend, even if they would just keep it on for the sound, just like your newscasters or, and then they'd call in and they felt like they knew me, and you'd hear the glass and hey, Rhonda. I don't know if it's a guy, a girl, or whatever, but I'm like, yeah. So it was great. Live TV is great, and I love it.
We'll be back for more in a moment. If you'd like to be more involved with us at Still Here Hollywood, you definitely can. Just visit patreon.com/stillherehollywood. You can support us for as little as $3 a month. You can get our episodes a day before they post anywhere else. You can see what guests will be coming up and submit questions for them. You can even tell us what stars you want us to have on as guests. You'll see what goes on before and after the episode, plus exclusive behind-the-scenes info, pics, video, and more. Again, that's patreon.com/stillherehollywood. Didn't HSN kind of merge with QVC?
QVC bought HSN, even though HSN was the first company. And QVC bought it. And it was larger. And they moved just recently, within the last few months, the whole thing to Philadelphia.
Yes, that's what I thought.
And so I hate going there. So we own a studio. So we had 2 buildings that housed our company, the intimate apparel. But one we weren't using anymore for warehousing. We were using it as a warehouse. So we turned it into an out-and-out studio. That was my husband's idea, not even mine. And so now it's podcasters use it, influencers use it, commercials, some film and TV, but it's a beautiful studio. It's 20,000 square feet. And that is where we rebooted Up All Night, because my husband rebuilt the original bedroom set that we had. Built it. When I walk in there, that's like, oh my gosh, that takes me back to so many years ago. It looks just like the same set.
What made you come up with the way you say?
I always believed in catchphrases, whatever would catch attention. So I guess I was always entrepreneurial, but never realized it. Even in New Orleans, I did a commercial for a spa. It was a health spa, and it was like, the phrase was, let's get in shape. But it was the way I said it. It was an all-female. And I always just think, what will make you remember something? If they hear it over and over. So I was sitting in my kitchen with my producer, whose name was Tommy Lynch, who still does children's programming. And I was thinking, I want this character to be childlike, not a bimbo, but childlike, and yet accepting of everything that comes in. So whether it was somebody, a cheerleader, or I didn't want to be sarcastic about anybody that walked in or any guests. And I wanted to embrace them and love them. When they came into Rhonda's world, which is the set, then it became like a magical play world. Even if you're older, you could just do anything you want. So anyway, I was sitting there coming up with a character, and I said, I wanted to go up, just something that will make them remember. And that's how it started. But even now, we just did a wrestling show. Wrestlers love horror, and I don't know why, but wrestling fans and Up All Night fans are the same. And so I brought this wrestler into our studio in Florida named Nick Nemeth. He's known as Dolph Ziggler. Huge. I mean, I haven't kept up with him like I did, because back in the day, USA Network had WWF. So I worked with a lot of wrestlers. But anyway, he reached out to me. He was a fan of the show. 4 million, it's all about how many subscribers you have on social media. It's 4 million. And so I said, you got to come in. Let's do a wrestling show in Rhonda's bedroom, always in third person. We got a whole wrestling ring that was brought in. I mean, an old one, but literally brought it in for Nick. And then I brought in this gal named Jeannie Biscone, who was the originator of the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. She lives here in LA. And I put them against each other, doing just ridiculous things, thumb wrestling, just silly things. But they got so into it. It's just this whole little world, like Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse, when you get into that, and it's lightly scripted. So people are missing that kind of television, I think. It's not politics. It's just light, mindless, funny, like Saturday Night Live was. You can do characters. I love to do characters and just out and out crazy characters. And I feel like there's a need for that.
How much formal training have you had?
I studied a lot here in LA. I majored in communications and did a lot of theater in New Orleans. But then when I got here, went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And then I worked with, I don't know if you'll remember this name, but Harvey Lembeck, Improv, great Improv, worked with Robin Williams, everyone. So Improv is what got me out of my Miss Louisiana smile. I wanted to just open up. And so Improv, I think, is great for anybody. I think it's great for business people, for anybody who just wants to learn to speak and be, and have no fear.
Right.
So that's what really got me into the whole comedy world. And, but he was great. If you look up Harvey Lembeck, I mean, he scared you to death because he never knew anybody's name. He'd go, honey, get up there and do that. But he was great. And that was my love of comedy. It came out of that. And then I'm like, I'm going to do stand-up. I don't care what anybody says in the mid-'80s.
Wasn't that scary at first?
I think it goes back to people telling me that I couldn't do things even in New Orleans. I ran for public office very young out there, and I was told, you can't. I was the first woman and the youngest person to ever run for office in Louisiana. It was just a local office in New Orleans. People said, you can't do that. So whenever people tell me no, I don't know, it sets off something in me, and then I want to go for it further. So when I was told by Sammy Shore, who was married to Mitzi Shore, he used to run these little showcases around town, and he goes, you really need to go to law school or something, or go back to school, because you're never going to make it as a stand-up. And then finally, years later, when I was headlining, because it takes years to really get to that point, I said, thank you for saying that to me. Because of you, I am a headlining stand-up. But I sat in front of the comedy clubs, and I waited to do my 5 minutes, and the Laugh Factory was my home club. Jamie Masad, who I don't know if he still owns it, but owned the Laugh Factory. I went to Jamie and I said, can you give me a night to do stand-up with women? See, this was always the entrepreneur that I didn't know I had in me, the accidental feminist. And he goes, well, Monday nights, no one ever comes here. So if you could bring a little audience in, you can book female comics. So I started doing Women of Comedy. I can't remember, it wasn't Rhonda. It might have been Rhonda Shear's Women of Comedy at the Laugh Factory. And I remember Jerry Buss was a friend. He was a friend to all girls back then, but there was none of that. But anyway, he took me to a few concerts, and he goes, wow, you're like the only non-bimbo I've ever dated. And I'm like, whatever. And it wasn't really a date. But anyway, Jerry Buss brought a lot of people on Monday nights is really the story that I was to. So he'd bring like his friends. So I had Jerry Buss in his crowd buying drinks. And so Jamie Masada loved it. It wasn't like packed, but, whatever. And the women, if they had like 20 people in the crowd, that was 20 more, because they wouldn't give women stage time back then. And then I found a deli in Westwood, and we went upstairs and we worked there. And we had like 2 or 3 different places that I was booking for women that just couldn't get stage time. So I was always helping women and never realized it. I was definitely a girl's girl, although people associate me with the show and
Did you ever think of yourself as a feminist?
I didn't outwardly, but I always marched to my own beat and didn't take no for an answer. And even if someone got handsy or tried to get handsy with me, I wasn't going to let that stop me because someone said, if you don't sleep with me, you're done. I just knew there was a way around it. And of course, like I said, I worked all the shows like Married with Children and Happy Days. And, I did all those shows. And why I moved to LA in my mind was to be on a sitcom. I wanted a sitcom. It was what I grew up with. I grew up loving Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie, and I saw myself as those ladies. They were attractive, but they were funny. And of course, I loved Lucy. And all those years I was on Up All Night, all these producers of B films would come through, and I had no interest in doing films. I could have asked any one of them, like Trauma, Lloyd Kaufman, put me in a Trauma film, and I never did because I was so focused on comedy and sitcoms. That's what I wanted. So one of the reasons I started doing stand-up is because a lot of the producers would come out to the clubs to find the next character or whatever for a sitcom. So what I came the closest to was having my own talk show. I filled in for Vicki Lawrence on CBS because she wanted a raise, and I filled in a couple of shows for her. And so I was talking, and that was exciting, and it was kind of this big character, and I had Judy Tenuta on and Lainey Gazan and wild style shows, and it was just different programming for daytime. So I think I was always just either ahead of myself or behind. I don't know, one or the other.
There's nothing wrong with being a step ahead.
What they did, the agents didn't know what to do with me, managers didn't know what to do with me. So, this is why I like it now, because now you can actually create on your own. You don't have to wait for a head of a studio. You can just create. It doesn't, maybe it's not a get rich fast program. My husband and I have our own company, so that's really cool. Now we have Shear Media Studios. And then to be able to start your own Roku channel is really cool. So with this Roku channel that's called the Up All Night Network, we are asking for content from people that just can't get a break too, kind of like what I did with the young ladies. And hundreds of films are coming in. We can't keep up with the amount of content and music videos. So there's this whole world of Hollywood that we all see on the Oscars and all of the shows, and there's so much talent out there. And if I can just help discover a little bit or showcase these people, how cool is that? And then we're going to have the Rhonda Awards at the end of the year. So I'm going to give my own awards out for filmmakers, and it's kind of fun to be on the outskirts of Hollywood because you see so much talent that never gets seen, that never has a chance. So they're not nepo babies. But there's some talent going on.
What do you think about today's female comedians? Nikki Glaser.
Oh, I think she's great. I don't know all of them. I haven't kept as much, but Nikki Glaser I'm a fan of. And every time she's on, I look at my husband and I go, I am so jealous. She's doing everything that I wanted to do. She's wearing the short skirt. She's got a killer body. She's beautiful, still self-deprecating. But that was not acceptable. But I see a lot of young ladies like that. And I think it's great.
Sarah Silverman.
She was definitely coming up when I was still doing stand-up. I guess I relate more with Nikki Glaser, but yeah, they're all good. And I'm gung-ho and I support comics because it is hard. It is the hardest thing because truly to get one joke right, you have a killer joke and you do it once in front of an audience and it kills. And you're like, oh, wow, I just wrote something great. And then you do it again and it bombs. You do it again, it bombs. And then you change it and you try. It takes, 20, 30 times before you know if a joke really works. So you got to like beating yourself up a lot.
How much has to do with delivery?
A little, but it has to be a will. I came from the school, like the years of the Jerry Seinfelds, more of, observational comedy and having hunks and jumping around to different hunks, or what they call free associating. So if it was something on a boyfriend or something on whatever, just being able to, so if the boyfriend stuff wasn't working, then I could jump to another hunk. And then I do a little audience work. But, it is a little different today because they are into more of storytelling, not always with a punchline. And I feel like I need that punchline. So,
what was the richest source material for you?
Just myself. You have to, because observational comedy And I would be better. There's no doubt I'd be better now because there's so much more with age that comes along. Back then I was dating. Now, I mean, every time I'd get mad at my husband, I was writing jokes on his ex-wife, which I didn't know, but it was just great material. And my stepkids, poor kids. I mean, it was just great, especially being like when we first got married 25 years ago, having that sexier image and then having these kids, these stepkids that knew I was in Playboy. It's just real. It has to be real or people don't relate to it. So I feel, but now, like I've gone up on stage and I've brought up women, and I'm like, do you think you know your bra size? This is coming from what I do now. And they're like, oh, I asked them, do you mind if I do this ahead of time? Because you have to be so politically correct. But they're like, yeah, I'm a 36B or, 34B. And I'm like, I'm going to measure you gently. Is that okay? It's okay. And I measure, and I said, you're going to get a free bra out of this. And she's like a 42 double D. She has and the audience is loving it because it's real. No one knows their size. And so it's just doing things that are real. So I would probably do a lot more intimate apparel jokes and women just don't know how to even wear that stuff anymore.
Why do you suppose that is?
I think it's because generation after my mother was from that generation that was like, you have to wear proper undergarments to make, foundations where your fashion starts. And it's true. To make your clothes look better, you need the right undergarments, right, underneath. So especially with time, everything changes. But I think the younger people just don't know that. The younger people, I really want to learn about some of these things. They have their own language. Have you had any of those people that come in here and go, clock it?
No, that's new.
I don't know if it's generation, I guess it's Alpha, maybe it's Z, but it's not even like back in the day when it was groovy or rad. It's like literally words and sayings. I love it. I embrace it. And I don't try to be young, but I do like having young people that work in our business, in the intimates business. A lot of young women, there are social media people, because I just like to stay current and learn from them. Like, I don't want to be the one to go, I'm older than you. I know everything. I want to learn from them. And gosh knows they're killer with social media. They do something and it's posted. It's like I'm posting like hours later. But so I embrace. I think that's probably been my asset. At least the president of Home Shopping Network told me this years ago. She goes, women of all ages embrace you and relate to you. Younger women, your age, older women. And I think that is just my love I've always had for lifting women up.
What do you do on social media?
Trying to do everything now.
You can get overwhelmed trying to do everything.
I know. I don't. I have, like I said, young people, but then I yike at them. I'm like, but you're not doing. I want to be able to do it, but I can't at the speed that they can. But I want to put more video out and more this and that. But anyway, we are on all of it, all the platforms, but also for our business, for the intimate apparel world, for myself now. That is what I'm working on more now, is my personal, because of Up All Night being back out there, and also for our new studio, because of booking the new studio. So there's several basically businesses that we're working on. If someone were to say to you, how do you think of yourself? What would it be? I was going to say, well lived in. That doesn't sound right. I enjoy living life and never, always being curious and always, being curious and always wanting to learn and never thinking that I know it all. So I think that keeps you young. But I mean, TV host. Oh, how do I think of myself? Actor. Yeah. That is like, I think I want to be an actor more than I am. And I think I'm sitcoms and comedy, but I think hosting is actually with a little acting on the side. And design. And design, yes. And the thing is, I was always designing. I didn't major in it, but I was always designing from beauty queen days. And even on my Up All Night days, I worked with designers. So I love design and probably would have majored in that if I had to start all over again. Would have learned that from scratch because I do love it. Tell me about your beauty queen days. Is that a good source of material? No, it's a great source. It was my earliest material. Like, it would be hard to go back and talk about my wave and my smile now, but it was early on. I wanted to be a choreographer in my young days, and there was a pageant called Miss Dance of Louisiana, which I still think they have the nationals for that. And so just to get the experience of being in front of people, I went into some local pageants as a teenager, and I started winning them. And like anything else, winning is addictive. And it wasn't that I was competing against the pretty girls around me. I was competing against myself to make myself better. So that ended up with the Miss America, Miss Louisiana, USA. So I ended up being Miss Louisiana in 3 different pageants. So I went to 3 different nationals, including Miss USA, Miss International, Miss World. And back in the day, Bob Hope owned the Miss World system. So that was cool. And then the very first job I ever had in LA was a Bob Hope special. Really giving my age, but I said my age. But that was wonderful. I mean, to meet and work with some of the icons I got to meet when I first got here. I worked with George Burns, Bob Hope. So these were you ask you ask comics about these people today, they don't even know them. I mean, when I was doing stand-up and learning, like you wanted to know the older comics. You wanted to know George Carlin and everything, but they're like, who? That's the only thing they don't want to study and research the past.
Well, when Carson was on, another one who's not around anymore.
So amazing.
But he used to do Jack Benny, for example, he would impersonate.
He was great.
Yeah, he was.
He was great. I got to do one, I worked with him one time in a Mighty Carson Art Players. I was Scarlett O'Hara to his Rhett Butler. Very funny, very politically incorrect sketch today. I mean, but it was awesome. And he was great. With the accent, everything. He was wonderful.
What do you think about this political correctness?
I can't stand it. I mean, I feel like there's a swing in comedy going back the other direction right now. I see it with the comedy clubs opening. I also think it's because kids are so much on their phone. They want live performances. They haven't seen that in long, so they want live everything. But I think you'll see a swing back. Maybe not totally. I hope so. I'm going to push it. I'm going to push it a little bit. Not politically. I don't want to go. I don't want to go there. I want people, if they're watching the show, just to completely release from their everyday world and the news and just laugh at funny again.
And we'll be right back. If Up All Night, I can't say it like you.
That's okay.
Debuted today, do you think it would be celebrated or criticized?
I think it would be celebrated today because they lost all of that in the last 20 years. They've lost all of that kind of programming. Like USA Network even had a show called Night Flight, which was a combination of music videos. Like MTV would be so celebrated. The kids don't know that combination of music and programming that you didn't know what was coming on and you just kind of left it on, and it could be anything. It could be animation. So that's what we're doing. We have animation we have animators that are part of our channel now, but also we're asking for animation. So why not have a channel that has a little bit of everything? I don't want to go to just a horror station or just this or that. Why not have a little bit of the kind of programming that I grew up with when you could just change the channels like this?
Yes.
Old school can be new school.
Let me write that down. Did you ever get real backlash at the time, or did it feel like everything went well? Or
the only backlash I got is when I was off of the show Up All Night, and when I immediately started auditioning for roles in LA. Just people they didn't really listen to my character, that I was saying smart things. They just saw the big hair and the boobs and everything. So they just really, and I named myself Rhonda. That was probably wrong. Like Elvira, Cassandra Peterson went by Elvira, so she could act as Cassandra Peterson, but not Elvira. So I think I was very typecast. I would have aged out of that eventually, and I keep telling my husband we should have stayed here because I'd still be working. But he goes, "Yeah, but you wouldn't have your Barbie dream house," which I did have, but I don't have it now. But life. There's no doubt doing what I did was really great, and business is cool, and I think I saw a whole other side of life, and having that business side really helps us with the creative side, because now we're producing. The only thing different that's weird about producing is now, instead of just walking onto a set and acting and I'm now writing. I'm worried about craft services. I'm worried about, is the makeup artist taking care of everybody on the set? So you're wearing all these hats, and then you just want to walk on the set and have fun, but it's kind of hard to do that if you're producing. At least I haven't learned how to do that yet. but maybe down
Maybe
the line.
in time.
In time.
Have your feelings about that era of your career changed over time?
No, I have no regrets except sleeping around. I do regret the people that came through my life were insane, and I was so afraid of everybody. My mother and father had it put in my head I was going to be raped and murdered at any time. So what I did was I hid behind the comedy scene, and so I hung out with nerdy comics. And believe me, a lot of them are just nerdy. They seem cool on stage, but they're not. And so we'd go right at the delis, and I don't know if they're even around anymore. But I literally, that's who I hung with. Those were my friends, and that's who I stayed with. I wouldn't have changed anything because I wouldn't have been comfortable doing. I didn't go to the Hollywood parties. I didn't do drugs. I mean, it was all around me, especially in those years. But the only thing I did, which was really cool, was Playboy. Playboy has been in my life for a lot of times. And then I brought to Playboy women of comedy because I kept hearing, even when I was starting a headline, well, you just can't be funny and pretty. So I brought to Playboy this idea in 91 to do women of comedy because they were doing women of this and that. And they did a layout, even though they were like, you'll never find any pretty comics. I'm like, stop it. Yes. They just said no one will wear makeup because they're afraid. So that came out. And then in 93, they came back to me because the show had exploded and they asked me to do a celebrity pictorial and Hef wanted me to do it really funny. And I did. We shot in places. If you can put nudity and funny together, it was. We shot in supermarkets and bowling alleys, places that were open all night long. And I was self-deprecating even within the pictorial. Everything was over the top, the hair, everything. A dog, just crazy stuff. And I have no regrets over that. I'm glad I did it because I was 37 then. And then I was like, wow, I'm glad I did it then. I show my husband every now and then, this is what I look like. Just look at the pictures.
I'm afraid what I'd like to ask with your husband sitting right there.
He doesn't care. He's heard everything.
Oh, really?
Trust me.
Did you sleep with anyone of note that you can spill to us?
Glenn Frey from the Eagles. Well, I was just thinking about that because we took Laurel Canyon over here and his house was up in the canyon, but only once. But I did a music video with him. But he wasn't anybody that could help me because I wasn't going to be in the Eagles. But but he was cute.
Did you have a good time?
I did.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, the people that came through my life were agents and really big. I didn't sleep. I became friendly with them, some of them, but I was so afraid of them. So I told my husband, I said, I only slept with like poor comics and an occasional musician because, I was just so terrified. I was really afraid to put myself out there. I'm not a party girl. Even to this day, I'm a homebody with my chihuahuas. So when I'm performing in front of people, I love it. I have no fear. But put me in a party where I have to walk in with 100 people in the room or even 50 people, I'm a mess. I'll sit down and I'm not one to go up and say, hey, I'm not. I'll stick my foot in my mouth big time.
Flexible.
I am flexible. I did it. I was a contortionist, actually.
Were there jokes or moments from the show that you think wouldn't fly now?
I'm sure, but I look at it now because we did these sketches, and definitely things would have been off. We had a couple of porn stars on. So I think that would have been, but I don't care. I mean, I love that. Like I said, my character, which to me, the Rhonda character was more accepting of that. But I'm sure there was things, I can't think of anything offhand, but yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, and also we did things that, that would have been that weren't making fun, but definitely we had Asians on and different characters that would come off today, like, that we weren't making fun of anyone, but, you just can't do that at all.
Right.
So some of those things are really funny. But listen, we had talking horses on the show. We probably would get in trouble for that. We had Mr. Ed on or whatever his name. He wasn't Mr. Ed, but gave him peanut butter. I mean, everything back then, the things we did were so insane. In the studio, we'd have horses.
Is that what they gave to Mr. Ed?
Peanut
butter to make him?
That's what they do. Do you know Carol Connors? Carol Connors, she wrote the theme from Rocky. I'm surprised she hasn't been on your show yet.
No.
Because supposedly she slept with Elvis Presley. It's all over. I mean, she was like a friend of mine. She wouldn't want to hear this, but she's older than me. But anyway, she wrote the theme from Rocky. She's been all over the place lately because she has a book, Elvis, Me, and whatever. But the reason I was saying that, she came on the show and we did camping with Carol and she wrote music for it. She's a prolific songwriter. but we literally had like a bonfire going on in the studio. I mean, we just did outrageous things. Anything could go in that world. And that's what's kind of fun is people come into the studio, whether they're actors or actresses or, doctors we've had on, and they have this freedom to just be silly and fun. And I think that's just awesome.
It's hard to find silly on television these days.
There's no silly. So you tell me, don't you think silly could work? Silly smart. I don't mean silly.
Yeah, if it's good, silly.
Yeah, I don't mean just silly, but if people like wrestling, because wrestling, I mean, it's staged and choreographed, but they like it because it's fantasy. And I don't think there's anything the matter with, having a little fantasy and fun. Also I've always liked taking people out of their world. So they're a professor or they're an actor or they're a horror actor or whatever their genre is, and putting them into something completely different, like taking this Nick Nemeth, who's this wrestler, this macho wrestler, and then having him play thumb wrestling with a girl wrestler and taking him completely out of his world. Like, it's so fun to have people do that, and they love it.
Are audiences today more sensitive or just different?
The young people, really young, like just in my conversations, like with my buyers from Home Shopping Network, because I have meetings all the time on Zoom. So you see this whole group of women, and some of them are in their 20s. And I know I'm funny. I'm saying funny things, and there's no smile. There's no smile. And I'm like, that was funny. I actually bring that, I'm not trying to be stand-up. I've said something funny, and they don't smile. They don't know what's funny. I think their heads are so into the phone and everything that they really don't know. And then I give speeches from time to time in front of college entrepreneurs and, young people that's their majors now. You can become an entrepreneur. They have that as a major now. But anyway, and I'll say things that I think are funny. I know they're funny, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, it's okay to laugh. It's really funny what I just said. Then they'll loosen up. I feel like they're so uptight. And so I don't know. I think that...
What does that come from?
I think their heads in social media and in their phones. I mean, I've been hearing out Generation Alpha, they're trying to get away from their phones. I don't know if that's true because I don't have any kids of that age, because you know how I feel, arm's length, pushing away.
Yeah.
But
didn't push anything out.
I know. I'm telling you, it changes things. But I do love observing young people, and I do like having young people around me, and I do find, and I ask them, I say, why don't you guys laugh? I mean, I have people that work for me, and they're like, is it okay? And it's this one girl, Tatiana, who works for us. I love her. And I said, do you know what flirting is? No. You don't know how to flirt? No. How do you do that? I'm like, okay, well, when I was dating, I'd walk into a room and if I saw a cute guy, I'd kind of like lift my eyes. Oh no, I could never do that. You could never do that. Well, how would you ever, it's okay. You're not throwing yourself on this person. But literally, I really want to teach classes, and it's okay. They're afraid of everything. They don't know what's okay and what's not. And will they be erased from that? So I don't know how we can change that together, but we can.
Did you ever feel people underestimated you because of your appearance?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, definitely. But I went with it because I couldn't fight it anymore, because I was told by everyone, you're to this or to that. I was told by a casting director, your mouth moves too sexy. I'm like, this is the way I'm made. I'm not trying. My mouth moves too sexy.
We'll be right back. Is there a female comedian who gave you good advice?
Joan Rivers.
Really?
Joan Rivers. And George Burns. I got to do her show a few times. A friend of mine, well, now became the president of, he became a mogul, my young friend, the president of MGM. But back then he was a young producer, and he was producing for Joan. And so I did her show all the time. And she was just always great and told me I was funny. And, don't change the way I look. Go for, don't dress down. And then George Burns, when I first met him, I'm like, I'm doing stand-up now. And I was just starting. He goes, don't ever be dirty. Put it in the mind of the audience. And that's what I did. I mean, every now and then I'd use the F word, but not just, it would have a reason. But it would, he was right to let them finish the joke. It was really great advice.
I worked with Joan a little bit when I was at E! And when I was let go from there, She was the first person to call me
I bet.
and say, don't let this get you down.
I bet.
They
Lovely.
always they go after
They go after the talented ones.
they go after the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, the talented ones. They're jealous. She knew that. I mean, The Tonight Show, I died when she didn't get that. I mean, she's so talented. And she was always sweet. And she loved doing the shopping television. She was on QVC and the
Well, they still
channel.
carry her brand on
do.
QVC.
They do. And the shopping channel, which is in Canada, I saw her there because I'm still on the air up there. And she would go there. It was just great to see her. She was always lovely and down to earth and just a very special person to me. So to me, she was like who I always looked up to.
What do you feel is the most important part of your story?
It
has so many facets.
Well, you throw enough shit against the wall, something's going to stick. I think the love story and finding love and totally pivoting into a new career after 40 and that's what my book was about. It was any actress can write a biographical, but this book had more than that. It was like, yeah, I did all this stuff, but then I found my true love, who was my first kiss, lo and behold. So you can find love, deep love, and then you can also completely change businesses if you put your blinders on and go for it, or as I like to say, put a stake in it and go for it. Like, don't be afraid. So many people are afraid to move out of the city that they're in or take a chance because they're afraid of being burned. But what if you don't? So I'm lucky because my husband is the same way. We're the same way. We're like, we're going to just go for stuff. We're like, yeah, let's just do it. If it doesn't work, well.
Any regrets?
Probably not having the child that out of here. It's okay because I have a lot of friends who don't have kids, and I never really wanted children because I was so focused on career. And back in the day, if you had kids, it put into the minds of those people that were trying to get physical with you, oh, she has kids, so it was like bad. It was like, she's not sexy, she's not single, she's not available. So a lot of women friends thought the same way. So you had to just be in their mind single. When I finally got together with Van and
your husband,
my husband Van Fagan, who was my first kiss at 13, and who took my virginity much years later. I don't want you to think but anyway.
Believe it or not, I wasn't thinking that.
Well, that's why I had to get back at him. So he had to buy the ring because.
I was going to ask you, you have some beautiful jewelry on today.
Love jewelry.
Is that part of your empire?
It's part of my obsession ever since I was a little girl. And I love jewelry. It's just a thing. I probably could have been a jewelry designer. I love it. I love blingy. I think it's part of coming from New Orleans that you grow up with this weird background of Mardi Gras and bling and costumes, and it's okay for everybody to be in costume. And it's just part of that, flashy. And there's nothing wrong with it. And that's the other thing, is that I could never fit into that mold of the girl next door or whatever. Apparently my face moved too sexy or whatever. So I just did my own thing because I think if you've got something to give, you have some talent, it will rise. So maybe mine's a little hosting, maybe mine's designing bras, maybe it's a little bit of everything in that, but it's all good. It's all good. But we're not big travelers. So my husband and I both of us would rather create and keep going. I think when I croak, I know I'll be working. I hope. That's what I'm thinking about that at the moment. But I just don't I'm not a lady or girl who, so many of my friends are like the ladies who lunch and they go to lunch and they like to show, I just like jewelry, but they like to show off their jewelry and their handbags. I'm not that lady. I can't do that. I get very bored with that. And unfortunately, I'm not a pickleball person. I'm not a club person. Because we belong to clubs because our husband's a golfer, but I'm not any of those. I just want to be creative.
It's so hot and humid in Florida.
I know, but we have a home in North Carolina that we go to that he plays golf. And I tried, and I'm like, I suck at this. Why?
Golf?
Oh.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, why am I even trying? You go play.
Gives me a tension backache.
No, it does.
Enough of this.
I still ride around on the golf cart and I'll drink champagne occasionally, but it's beautiful.
Two very important parts of golf.
Very important. Well, it's just like, I'm not going to keep trying. All these women kept asking me, do you play golf? And then when I said no, they had no interest in me. certainly no interested in my background.
Rhonda, what would you like to leave our viewers with?
Well, I just hope you come and find me on Roku. And we have the Up All Night channel.
You didn't say it that way.
Up All Night.
There you go.
And also, I'm going to I have another channel that's starting called Rhonda Presents Scream Queens. And it's going to be all the lovely ladies of the horror films, they are good actors and they're so smart. And I want to do interview shows with them to show them that they studied acting and they ended up in that, but they've worked their entire lives in that world and keep working. So again, celebrating women. So anyway, come find us on Up All Night and I'll definitely fit you for a good bra.
Okay. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you, Steve. I enjoyed it.
Me too.
Still Here Hollywood is a production of the Still Here Network. All things technical run by Justin Zangerly. Theme music by Brian Sanashin. And executive producer is Jim Lichtenstein.